All right. Welcome, everybody. This is Susan McCoy with the ASA Network, and we have a Talent Scout interview today with Rob Thurston, and we're going to be sharing a little bit about Rob today. Rob is with the Savvy Online Shopping Service, and his company was number 6 in worldwide billion-dollar company. Rob lives in Utah with his family, and he's consented to share some of his wisdom and all-around wonderful experience with us today on the ASA network. So, Rob, welcome.
Thank you. I really appreciate the opportunity, Susan, to meet with you today.
Okay. Well, I mean, my bio was really short because I didn't, I had to pull it from pieces and stuff. So can you give us a bit more background?
Sure. Back in the early 80s, when I graduated from MBA school, I went to work for a large corporation named IBM. And while I was there, I noticed that the people at IBM that really got ahead and made money were the ones that eventually ended up being a consultant. And so I figured quite quickly that I could spend 30 to 40 years earning a paycheck and hoping for a retirement from IBM, or I could go out and be a consultant and provide those same services back to IBM and to other major employers. At the same time, my brother, J.Thurston, and I decided to do seminar selling. And so what we were able to do is we found areas of interest that were going on in the early 80s. And one of those areas of interest was real estate. Another one was home-based businesses. And so we combined the best of those. While I would speak on things like human resources, employee benefits, motivation, and why people do what they do, my brother would talk about how you can transfer those kind of skills and use them in things like home-based businesses and in real estate development. And we were very successful in the 1980s doing that, Susan. So in a nutshell, doing that in the 1980s, what happened is we generated a lot of clients and a lot of students. And these students would be someone who would purchase either our books, tapes, videos, or CDs. And eventually, many of them would approach us and they'd say, hey, why don't you take a look at this home-based business that we're involved with? Or they'd say, have you ever heard about direct sales or network marketing or, in fact, even multi-level marketing? And I must admit, my brother and I were very standoffish at first. But someone explained to us it's like being the author of a best-selling book. You write it once, but you get a royalty or a residual every time the book is sold from then on. And occasionally you might update that book, but because you're the author, you'll continue to get residual income. So my brother and I, rather than having to go out and speak every week and travel hundreds of thousands of miles, I believe my brother has like 5 million frequent flyer miles on Delta Airlines, and I have about 3 million on the various airlines that I've flown on. We figured out that if we could teach people once and employ what we call the team concept, and you're going to go, well, Rob, everyone's heard of the team concept. But back in the day, in the 1980s, no one has, and I believe we coined this phrase. TEAM stands for Together Everyone Achieves More. So by combining our efforts, the synergistic effect was we could create repeat sales again and again and again. And so, Susan, this is what we found over the years. In the early 80s, I must admit, we built a very successful seminar speaking business and consulting business. But in the early 90s, that's when we decided to look at network marketing. And we had a couple of forays, but we settled on one company in 1992, and we've been doing it consistently ever since and reached some of the highest levels of this billion-dollar-a-year company. However, the compensation plan back then was a forced matrix. The payout that we found out later because of the difference in the value of the product we were consuming versus the base value or personal value that they assigned and paid commissions off of was huge. And looking at that company today, I believe over time that company only paid out about 35% of the revenue they collected in commissions to its distributors. However, my brother and I had a very successful business with it and continue to get a check every month and have since 1992. So, Susan, in a nutshell, that's what we've done up until the year 2000. So do you have any questions at this point that you'd like me to go for from year 2000 forward?
Yes, I'd like to know now that you've built the awesome foundation, what kind of awesome buildings are you building on your awesome foundation?
Well, thank you. Here's what we found. We found that residual income is very attractive to a lot of people. And using this team concept, when they knew that we were behind them and helping them every step of the way, and that the tools that we created applied and had application for whatever home-based business that they were involved with, we suddenly had hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of contacts. And at first, how we would contact these people was through direct mail. In fact, at one point, we had a group of little old ladies and other people who would do nothing but hand address envelopes for us in personal handwriting using blue ink and self-stamping those envelopes to send out hundreds of thousands of letters every month. And that was the way that we got people to open up mail. Then for our students, we were so grateful when the internet finally came, because we found we could communicate with our students and people involved with us on a much more economical basis. However, the seminar speaking business went down because people could then get information and content directly through the internet and didn't feel the need to go to a face-to-face or a meeting where they felt they'd get a lot of rah-rah and razzmatazz and motivation. And that's why I'm really excited about what Casper Stockman with ASA has done, because it's kind of like motivation, training, education in a box, all on the internet. And I love the idea of doing these webinars. For example, a professional motivational speaker that we have who typically, when we would get someone to a face-to-face network marketing meeting or to buy books, tapes, and videos of training, we could typically close 40% of the room with one speaker in a 90-minute presentation. However, with a webinar today over the internet, even the best speakers that we have found, unless the offer is free or has a money-back guarantee for 30 days or is just an irresistible offer, we found that even our best seminar speakers can only close about 10% of the group. You might be thinking, Rob, why would you then be doing a webinar like this with ASA and with Susan McCoy today? Because we have found that the cost to mount such a webinar is minuscule compared to having to fly in, doing major email campaigns, major mailing campaigns, maybe buying radio and TV spots, or doing text messaging, which costs money. We found that through a webinar, if we can have 20 to 30 qualified people at that meeting, we can really make a difference in their lives. And if only 3 to 5 of them decide to join us, that's well worth our time and investment. So over the last 10 years, my brother and I have been building a names list in a database. And we have several millions of email names and several hundreds of thousands of text cell phone names. And we are looking for quality programs that we can do and expose our clients to where, number one, they can use these social media tools, use webinars, use the internet, use the team approach that we've created, and together we all achieve more. And so our criteria when we're looking at a startup, network marketing or direct sales companies, number one, we typically like to look at ones that have been in business at least a year. And you know the obvious statistics is that 95% of most network marketing direct sales companies go out of business in the first year, and like 99% go out of business in the first 5 years. So that's kind of a rule of thumb. And even though you want to get in at the beginning and there's a fear of loss and there's the fact that you might get rich quick because you're at the top of the binary, you're at the top of the matrix, you know, or you got in at the ground floor opportunity during pre-launch. And when it's all said and done, that risk of your reputation, when you know 95% are going out of business in the first year, is too great for us usually to get involved. Now, there are educational and training direct sales and network marketing businesses that have a stable product, that have a fleet of good products. We would get involved with them because it's not a product that's a flash in the past. It's not a flash in the pan. It's not potions, lotions, and energy drinks. Instead, it's something that people already understand, already know if they'll use it or not, and it's less likely that that kind of a company would go out of business in the first year. The second thing we look at is a strong management team. They haven't had a lot of attorney general complaints. They haven't had an FDA, FTC fine against them. There aren't convicted criminals and things like that. These are people that are known in the industry. That's something else that we look at. The third criteria we look at is a strong balance sheet. We actually will look at and check out their financials, who they have their banking relationship, they have their merchant banking account information, how do they pay commissions, what kind of a back office are they using, what kind of websites, what do they look like, and what are they charging in terms of a front-end load or other thing to access those kind of tools. And I must admit, Susan, that I've been very impressed with Casper and what he's been able to do with All-Star Success Alliance, ASA, because he has put those features in my opinion. And then the fourth thing we look at, and you notice I haven't mentioned compensation plan. The fourth thing we look at is a product, a value-added service or product that people will use consistently and can consume. If it's something that they'll only buy once and never buy again, that's not true residual income opportunity for us. So we're looking for something that people want, people use on a regular basis, and people who consume. And frankly, Susan, that's why on our website that you showed earlier on the webinar, we have a program that we've evaluated, we've done consulting for, we've checked out the owners, we've checked out the statistics, and that's why we invite people to take a look at Savvy Online Shopping. And so there's a link right there at HR Consulting Group, and we give you a thank you gift for doing that. And there's the video. It takes 90 seconds. You can watch it. It explains what Savvy is, and we think it has all of those various components. And we would invite people to take a look at this. And if they want to go out and they don't want to go through this link that we have on our website at hrconsultinggroup.com, they can go directly to www.savvy, S-A-V-V-I, affiliates.com and look at it for themselves. However, if you go through our link, we naturally get credit, which would be nice. But there's a 90-second video, and people can look and see, just like Casper does on their website for ASA, and check it out for themselves. But we've done our due diligence on this, and we're very excited about that opportunity. Now, my brother continues to be involved with Melaleuca, which is the billion-dollar-a-year network marketing opportunity, stable, true, a legacy company in the top 10 of all time of all network marketing opportunities. And I've been branching out and exploring other opportunities, such as working with ASA, such as working with Savvy. So Susan, I've spoken for several minutes. I'd like to gear the rest of this kind of interview on what you think I should be talking about next. What questions do you have for me at this point?
Actually, you answered every question that I would think to ask. I do have kind of a nutshell question for you.
Sure.
I know you have words of wisdom, you know, things that are like little nuggets. I know the team concept would be included in that, but what kind of, you know, words of wisdom that would you leave our members with?
Okay. Well, you know, in my years and having been in Utah and exposed to network marketing since the early to late 80s, when basically there was Amway and Nu Skin was just starting up, what we've seen and found is if someone approaches you and they say, well, give me your lists, give me your list of your friends and family, and I'll follow up with them, I'd walk away, because that's not duplicatable. You've got to find a business that you can do and is duplicatable that you can teach to others. So that's why we like the team concept. Even though it seems like the person who approaches says, give me your list and I'll do them for you, that's not duplicatable. That's not a team approach. That's a, hey, I'm a great telemarketer, I'm a great salesperson, I'm going to slam dunk all your friends and family. And if you do that, you're going to end up in the NFL club. And that doesn't stand for National Football League. You all know what that means. It means no friends left club. And so don't give your gold leads, your family and friends, to somebody else to follow up with. They should be able to train you. They should be able to motivate you. They should be able to provide you with tools and duplicatable system so that together everyone can achieve more through a team concept. So team is important. Do not give your gold lists of family and friends to other people to follow up with. Don't become a member of the NFL club. And the fourth thing is you need a business opportunity that you believe in the product. I don't care if you say, hey, I can sell snow to Eskimos, I can sell refrigerators to people who live at the North Pole, or I can sell water to people, that are in the middle of a swimming pool. That's not the point. If you don't believe in your product, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, 20 years from now, you will not have a lasting residual income. If an author is writing a junk book and he knows that it's a flavor of the month, that it's only going to be popular for a day or a week, and he doesn't want to stand behind it, and he's not willing to update it, he's not willing to promote it, he's not willing to go on the tours and sign the books and stand behind it, that book is not going to last. That book is not going to generate the royalties and residual income that that individual wants to achieve. So, team, don't provide your list to somebody who said they'll work them for you. Don't become a member of the NFL club, no friends left. And be proud and converted to the products that you're offering. And you'll notice, Susan, in all of this, I still haven't talked about compensation. And yes, some of us in today's financial environment, that is the overriding concern. But I'll tell you, it'll come back to bite you if that's the only reason you're marketing a particular opportunity. Because when it's all said and done, we all know that the compensation plan at New Skin, the compensation plan at Amway, the compensation plan at Herbalife and Melaleuca are not state-of-the-art. They're not industry standards. They don't pay out the most money. And yet those are the legacy lasting companies. Why? Because they have created products and invested the time and effort in creating a culture, an environment, training, duplication, and the compensation is just the icing on the cake. It's the way to be rewarded for following through with the steps that we just went through.
Awesome.
So, Susan, yeah, that's
Thank
it.
you. Yeah, wow. Thank you very, very much. I want to thank you for your awesome information and your awesome presentation. That was really, thank you. Our listeners are going to be very, very pleased to have this to refer to. And I would also like to invite you to be part of our Speakers Bureau. And if you'd like, I could contact you about that a little bit later.
Absolutely. Always happy to help and share with the industry.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Rob, for your time. And your interview was awesome. Our members are going to really appreciate it. This is Susan McCoy, ASA Talent Scout. Thanks. Have an awesome day. Bye-bye.